All right, hello everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm going to go ahead and give it just a couple more minutes for others to go ahead and get signed on. It is currently 1 minute till 2:30 Central Time, so we'll go ahead and give it a couple more minutes for everybody to get on. All right, thank you for those that have jumped on the webinar so far. I'm going to give it just a few more seconds here to give other people to come on board. It looks like we've still got some people coming on here slowly, so I'm going to give it just a few more seconds here before we really get going. Okay, and with that, let's go ahead and get started. It looks like the numbers are slowing down for people jumping on. So it is 2 minutes after 2:30, so we'll go ahead and get this thing rocking. So first, thank you for coming on board. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Dustin Newman, and I'm the president of Service Hero Marketing. We work with plumbing, HVAC, and electrical companies. If you're on this webinar, I'm assuming that you are either the owner or the marketing or help handle the marketing for a home service company. Otherwise, you'll probably still get some value out of this, but you'll have to take what I say and apply it to your industry. So with that, go ahead and get our slides going here. And today we're going to be talking about how to dominate Google in 2017 and generate more leads for your business. I know that ultimately the goal here is to get your phone ringing. So that's what I want to help you do today is learn how to optimize your website to get your phone ringing. And as a thank you for jumping on this webinar today, just for attending, I'm going to be giving you our 7-step website audit checklist. And I didn't give this to you before the call simply because we're going to go over this later in the webinar, and I didn't want you to jump ahead. So just know that that is coming. Whenever we send out the replay of this, you will get the 7-step checklist as well. So who am I? Obviously, you know my name is Dustin Newman, but you probably don't know anything about me. For those of you that are new to me, I actually started off as a magician. I did magic for a little while, and I grew up loving magic, and magic is actually what got me started on SEO. Once I learned how to market myself as a magician, or as I was learning to market myself as a magician, I quickly learned that online is where it was really at, right? So I started learning how to market myself. And the good thing is, for being a magician, there's not really, at least in my area, I live in a relatively small area. So there wasn't a lot of magicians that I was having to compete against. So I was able to make a lot of mistakes and still rank. And even as a magician, I was able to get my calendar pretty full. And I then helped a family I went to church with their marketing. They saw what I was doing, and I helped them. They owned a moving company, and they saw results. And that's when I was like, hey, you know what? There's probably other small businesses that I can help. So I went out trying to find somebody that would take a chance on me. I am about to turn 30 right now, and I look like I'm about 24. This was several years ago. I probably was around 24, and I looked like I was about 16. So, but fortunately, I did find somebody willing to take a chance on me, and it was a local electrician named Mr. Sparky, and they're actually a part of a franchise. And whenever I came on with them being my first clients, we got really good results. And eventually the owner asked me to come on and just help them with all their marketing. So I came on as the marketing director there. And as you can see from these pictures here, this was the bottom left there was the team, the electricians with their significant others. Actually, the picture in the top left, where it looks like the guy has a headache, that was actually me performing a magic trick for our Christmas banquet. And the picture in the top right there is me with the owner and one of our, or actually two of our call desk ladies. And so whenever I was at Mr. Sparky, when I first started working with them, we had a team size of 2. And by the time I left, we had grown, and this was within probably about 6 to 9 month time. We had grown from the size of 2 to about 10, and that did include people answering the phones, and it wasn't all just electricians. But we were able to pretty much double our net sales, and we are top 5 in net sales nationally among Mr. Sparky franchises, which, again, I'm in a pretty small area. We don't have a huge population. We were competing against other Mr. Sparkies in much larger locations like Houston, Oklahoma City, Phoenix. So that was a pretty big deal for us to accomplish that. And because of our success, we actually ended up becoming somewhat of a training center for other Mr. Sparkies. And as you can see from this picture here, this is other Mr. Sparky owners coming in from all over the U.S., literally from all the way out from Seattle to St. Louis, coming to coming to Northwest Arkansas to see what it is that we were doing. And so it was a great opportunity for me. And the reason why I tell you this story is because this is how I got started. I initially did this for myself, and then I worked with an electrician. And Mr. Sparky is, as I mentioned, they're part of a franchise, which is a part of a larger franchise with Ben Franklin, 1 Hour Heating and Air, Ben Franklin Plumbing, and 1 Hour Heating and Air. So naturally, whenever I left Mr. Sparky, I had a lot of connection into the plumbing, HVAC, and electrical realm. Thus, how Service Hero Marketing came to be. So here is a look at some of the results that we got when I was there. And this is, if you're unfamiliar with a call tracking number, a call tracking number is simply a number that you can stick anywhere. In this case, we had it on our website. And anytime somebody would call, we were using a program called Ring Central. And Ring Central would show us anytime somebody called our specific number that we had on our website. And the benefit to this is that we were able to see how many calls were being generated. And the calls that you're looking at this is page 1 of 3. It might be kind of hard to see on the screen there. But this is back in 2012. And this is page 1 of 3. This is 2 of 3 and 3 of 3. And what's actually really cool about this screenshot here is that this was not on their main website. So this was not, these leads were not coming from the same website that we used on commercials and radio. This was a website that we set up specifically for ranking purposes. So all of these calls that are coming in, this was all during the month of July, which summer is obviously a busier time of month. But this is no AdWords or anything. This is all organic people searching for us and finding us because we're ranking leads that came in just from our SEO endeavors. After Mr. Sparky, I worked with, and I still work with Gary's 1 Hour Heating and Air. And whenever we first started working with him, he had worked with other SEO companies in the past with little results. And at this point, we started using our own call tracking system, which is the reason why you don't see Ring Central here. But within 3 months of working with him, we were able to see a 315% increase in calls from his website within, I guess, the first 120 days, so about 4 months. And we more than doubled his total call volume from the website from 1 year to the next year. And the reason why I say that is because the little asterisk that you have to put with a 315% increase in calls is that when we first started working with him, it was fall. And so it wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold, and for obviously an HVAC company, if you're in the HVAC world, you know that 70-degree weather is your enemy. So, but from 1 year to the next year, we still more than doubled his total call volume. So, what I'm about to show you here are the same tactics that we use for Mr. Sparky and for Gary's 1 Hour Heating and Air and for other clients of ours that have seen similar results. So this isn't just theory. This is stuff that is actually working, and it's working today. And this right here is what I like to call our hero formula. It's very simple. There's nothing overly complicated here, but as we get into the nitty-gritty, you'll see that it can get complicated. There's a lot of details to cover here, but the 3 steps, if you will, are: number 1, make sure that you have your website properly set up. Number 2, build backlinks, and number 3, build your reputation. So when it comes to website structure, here's really the base website structure that you should have set up. And basically it will look like this. You'll have your website, and your website is going to be aimed at the primary keyword that you're wanting to rank for. So a mistake that I see a lot of plumbing and HVAC companies make is that they will take their homepage or their website and they'll try to optimize it for every single city that they serve, and sometimes for every service that they offer. And that's just really counterproductive. You're not going to get the results that you're looking for. So really the best practice is to, whatever city that you're in, that should be the city that you try to rank for. That should be the city that you're optimizing your website for. And here in a minute, we'll go over the 7-step website audit that I mentioned before. Well, I'll show you exactly how to optimize your website for that city. The only time that you wouldn't be going after the city that you're in is if, let's say, you're in a suburb of a larger city, and the city that you're in, is population of 10,000 or something like that, where there's just not going to be very many people searching for your services. Then it might make sense to go ahead and optimize for the larger city that you want to rank for. So with that in mind, how you want to set up the menu of your website should look something like this. You're going to have your areas served, or your locations, whatever you want to call that. And then you'll have your typical about page, your contact page, and any other pages you want to throw in. And then you're also going to have your services page. And the 2 pages that I want to talk about are the areas served and your services. How you want to set this up is exactly like how you see here, where you're going to have your website.com /location or area served /Dallas. If this was in Dallas, for example, or you'd also want to have area served /Frisco and so on. And each city that you service, you want to have a specific page set up for that particular town. And all of those cities are going to fall under the areas served page. So every page is going to look something similar to this. Every city page is going to look something similar to this. The same thing with services. So every service that you offer, you're going to have a services page set up, and then connected to those service pages, or connected to the services page, you're going to have the different services that you offer. So whether it's toilet repair or AC repair, depending on what business you're operating, you want to have the different services set up like that. And what you're going to find is that just doing this alone, oftentimes is going to get you to rank, especially in some of those smaller cities that a lot of other companies are ignoring. And especially whenever I show you how to properly optimize each page, a lot of times this right here is going to be enough to get you through. And if it's not, something that is important to know, and this is something that a lot of people don't know and they don't utilize, is that whenever Google looks at your website, it actually takes into consideration every single page of your website. So every single page of your website is working to tell Google what your website is about. So with that in mind, let's say that you're struggling in Dallas, as an example, for your different services and maybe even for plumbing or AC repair. So what you can do is you can actually set up topic-related pages on your website, and these don't have to be found in the menu. These are going to be purely for Google's. This is going to be purely for Google. This is going to be purely for their eyes. And really, you can write about anything city-related. You can write about the Dallas Cowboys. You can talk about any charity events happening in Dallas. You can talk about if there's a festival coming up in Dallas. You can write an article about that and put it on your website. And again, it doesn't have to be included anywhere on your website in terms of the menu. So somebody who visits your website, they're not going to find these pages. But whenever Google sees them, it helps build more relevance to the idea that your website should be ranking for Dallas, because your website is about Dallas. And the same thing for your services pages. If there's a particular service that you're not ranking very well for, then you can create additional content based around the services. So for example, you can come up with some type of how-to post, or maybe you're talking about how to do toilet repair yourself before calling a plumber, some very simple fixes. Maybe there's a trending topic, which unfortunately in our industry there's not a whole lot of times there's anything cool trending with plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, but you never know, there might be something trending occasionally. And maybe even in the people that you follow, the different blogs that you follow, maybe there's something trending just in your niche, if you will, that you can still turn around and write about. Because again, this isn't going to be put in the menu for anybody to find. This is going to be for Google's eyes. And another option is that you can just tell a story. Perhaps you went out to a house and something funny happened, and then you can put that into a blog post. And after you create these pieces of content, what you want to do is, coming back over here to the city-related topics, let's say you write an article about the Cowboys being one and done again in the playoffs. What you'd want to do is, whenever you're talking about Dallas, is you want to link that page to the Dallas page, to this page. So you're getting content on your website talking about Dallas, things specific to Dallas, and then it's linking to your area served Dallas page. The same thing over here with your services. As you create these pages, whatever topic it is you're talking about, you want to link those back to your services page. Now, I can tell you that probably over 50% of the time, just doing this alone is going to get you to rank in a lot of the different areas that you serve, especially whenever you start creating these related topic articles, because I can tell you that nobody's really doing this. You're not going to find many other plumbers and HVAC electricians in your area that are using this methodology. Even if they are doing something similar to this, where they got the area served and the services, I can almost guarantee you they're not doing this. And again, I can assure you that this works because I've seen it work. Google actually used to have, in Google Webmaster Tools, which is basically a tool where Google can tell you what they think about your website, they used to have a section where it was called content keywords. And if you want, it might be a good research for you to go do, is to learn about the content keyword section that Google used to have. And what was cool about it is it would pull in every single page of your website, all the different words, all the different content, and it would tell you what Google thought of your website. And often what you would find is that, or what we would find is that if there was a certain, let's say a certain city that we're struggling to rank in, well, that city inside the content keyword section, of Google Webmaster Tools would be way down at the bottom, and it'd be ranked very, very low. And what I mean by that is it would rank everything from like 1 to it would go into the hundreds. I'm not sure what the actual numbers it would end on. Let's just say 500. And if we had a city, let's say Dallas, using Dallas as an example, if we were struggling to rank for Dallas, sometimes what we would find is that Dallas would be positioned like 113 or something like that, meaning that on the order of importance, Dallas wasn't a phrase that Google was really considering to be an important part of our website. So whenever we would build out pages like this, we would start to see that move up the list, and as a result, our rankings would also move up the results, because that, again, Google is starting to give us credit for, okay, this is what your website is about. So I hope that makes sense. So if by chance you do this and it does not work, there is one more step that you can take, and that is to get the actual URL, to get the phrase that you're trying to rank for inside the URL. And by URL, I'm simply referring to this part right here where you got website.com/city/ in this case sewer repair. So using our Dallas as an example, let's say that we're struggling to rank for Dallas sewer repair. What we would do is we would set up a city page, and we would call this city page Dallas. And just to clarify, this is separate from the areas served Dallas page, although you can absolutely build it off of this Dallas page. The idea is mainly you just want to get the phrases in the URL here. And so oftentimes what we'll do is we'll create all the different, if there's a certain area that we're struggling to rank in, we'll just create different service pages to go to append to that particular city. And oftentimes we'll end up doing that with more than one city. So as an example here, you might have your website.com/Dallas/ sewer repair, your website.com/Dallas/ sewer line repair / boiler repair, etc. Then you would have another page set up where it would be your website.com/Frisco/ sewer repair, your website.com/Frisco/ boiler repair, and so on. And oftentimes, because you're getting the exact phrase in the URL structure here, it's going to be more properly optimized. Now, obviously, this is more work, and oftentimes is not necessary, but it is absolutely something that you can do. And typically, whenever we're working with the client, we will build these out over time regardless, simply because it's going to help build more relevance to our website. So I hope you followed all that. If you have any questions, go ahead and type that into the chat box. Okay, and so that's a good question, Alan. So Alan is asking, what if you already have pages set up similar to this, but it's not set up exactly like this? Alan, what I would do, it's kind of hard to say without looking at your website. And if you want, once this the webinar is finished, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to take a look at your website and give you some a more specific answer. But just kind of speaking general here, if you already have different services pages set up, and it's not, if I understand your question correctly, you're saying you don't have it set up like services and then the different services appending the services page. Let me know if I'm mistaking your question. I would honestly wouldn't worry about it too much. I would leave those pages alone if I were you, and I would probably still go ahead and build this out. It doesn't hurt to do that. Again, it kind of goes back to the whole relevancy part. But if you already have your website.com / and then you've got all of your different services already mentioned, and you're not ranking, then I would honestly probably focus first on making sure that you've got your different services pages lined up. And then I would also try to create some related post, if you will, some related articles and link those to your pages that you already have set up. And also it's possible, Alan, that you just don't, that you may not have these pages optimized correctly, which we'll be covering that in just a second. But yeah, go ahead and shoot me an email, and I'll follow up with you and give you a more exact answer. But I hope that was helpful. So, okay, so moving along. Any more questions? Going once, going twice. Okay, doesn't look like it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on. So, and Alan, this might be helpful for you here too, what we're about to cover next. And this is really the 7-step website audit. And I'm not going to go into excruciating detail, because after this webinar, whenever you get the recording, I'll be sending you our checklist that we use internally, along with training. There's video trainings for each step here. And we would like to call this our 7-step Get My Phone to Ring website audit. And steps 1 through 3 are really it's step 1, if you will, but because there's 3 parts, just make it steps 1 through 3, and that is to include your primary keyword in your URL, title, and description. And the one asterisk there, if you will, is the whole URL part, keeping in mind that most of the time this setup right here is going to be enough to get you to rank. But if it's not, then you absolutely do want to go ahead and get the exact phrase that you're trying to rank for in the URL here. And one thing I didn't mention, that I just want to cover here really quick, is that for each service page that you're setting up, you're really going to be targeting one phrase, if you will. So in this particular case, sewer repair city, that's really the only thing that you're trying to rank this particular page for, is for sewer repair. You don't want to try to rank this for anything else and for any other city. So that's all you want to do there. So coming back over here, so you want to include your primary keyword in your URL, title, and description. So again, whatever your primary keyword is, so using this as an example, the city sewer repair, so we'll say Dallas sewer repair, you want to have Dallas sewer repair in the title and in the description. You want to include that in both places there. And this is regardless of whether or not it's exact URL, you'll want to do that. Number 4 is include the primary keyword in the H1 tag, and include secondary keywords in your H2 and H3 tags. You also want to have a minimum, ideally, of 750 to 1,000 words on your homepage and landing pages. And the landing pages are simply these pages right here. So your area served, city, the more content you have here, the better. Now your about page, your contact us page, those different pages that you have set up like that, I'm not too worried about those, because we're not trying to rank those. But pages that we do want to see here ranked, we do want to include as much content as possible. And you can rank in some cases without having this much content, but the more content, the better. That's the general rule of thumb there. And you want to include your long tail primary and secondary keywords in the alt text of your images. And by long tail, what I'm simply referring to whenever I say long tail is, instead of Dallas sewer repair, you could say something to the effect of emergency Dallas sewer repair, or something along those lines. If you're talking about toilet repair, instead of just Dallas toilet repair, you could do clogged toilet in Dallas, or fix toilet Dallas, or something along those lines. And if you're unfamiliar with what alt text is, or what alternate text is, basically every website or every image on your website is going to have what's called alternate text. And this is a great opportunity for you to include these keywords, because this is not something that the end user is going to see, but Google sees it. It does show up in the code of your website. And again, inside the training that we've got for this checklist, we cover that in detail. Step number 7, make sure your contact information is easy to find. And no, that by itself is not going to help you rank, but man, it'd be a shame to do all of this work to get your website to rank. You drive traffic, and it's hard to find your phone number. It amazes me today how many people still have their phone number very small on their website, and they only have a contact form on their contact page. You got to remember, the idea here is that you want somebody to take action immediately, and most people are looking to take action immediately, which I'll actually talk about that I can go ahead and actually talk about it right now. Something that we've had success with is whenever you're creating the title of your particular page, and if you're not familiar with what the title is, I'll show you in just a second. But actually, I can go ahead and pull this up here just so that you can see it. So I'm going to do Plumber Dallas. The title is what shows up right here. And this guy is actually doing exactly what I was going to recommend doing, and that is including your phone number in your title. And if you look through here, not everybody's doing that. As a matter of fact, he's the only person doing it. And what we've actually seen from our analytics, so we absolutely can prove this, is that people that are searching from their, I'm assuming they're searching from their desktop. I would think it'd be harder to do this from your mobile device. But we've actually had people pick up the phone and call the number that they see right here without even clicking through to the website. So, people are looking, especially if they have an emergency. If their toilet's overflowing, they need somebody immediately. They're not going to take the time to really examine your website if it's an emergency. So if they can see your number right away, they're going to call it sometimes right away. So you want to make sure to include that in your title. And this is actually why I'm on this page. This is a good example. We're talking about Dallas Plumbers. You can see this part right here is the title. You can see he's got Dallas Plumbers in the title. This guy up here, Cohen Plumbing, he's got Dallas Plumbers in here as well. This right here is what's called a description. And you can see here in the description that he has Dallas Plumbers in the description. This guy down here, he's got plumbing, 24-hour plumbing company, emergency plumbing company. But he's got plumbing right here. He's got Dallas right here. The only thing he's doing that I'm not a fan of is that he's trying to stuff all of these cities in here. And he is ranking for Dallas, and the reason why he's ranking for Dallas is because he's targeting it so much in the title of his website. But I would bet you that for some of these other cities, he's probably not ranking as well for. And I don't know. Let's see if he proves me wrong. Let's see, who is this? Berkey's. So let's do a search for. Let's go Plano. And sure enough, as you can see, so he is ranking down here, but it's not the same page. This is his Plano page. So again, he's got it in the URL here, and he's got it in the title, and he's got it in the description. And there's a few things that he could do to get this page ranking higher, which I'll show that in a minute. If I were him, I'd also have this number at the end of the title like he had it before. But this is actually a great example of how he's doing a lot of things right here, which is the reason why he's ranking. But this was a good example to show you can stuff as much as you want to on your homepage, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to rank for it. So coming back over to our slideshow here. Okay, so that in essence is the 7-step website audit. Again, I'll be sending over training about that. Now, before I move from here, one last call for any questions. Are there any questions about this process right here? And I can tell you that it might look confusing, but it's really not too difficult. Especially whenever you watch the videos and you're walking through it, it's really not overly complicated. So, okay, we got a question here. My buddy Alan again. Alan, that's another really good question. Alan is asking for the title and description for your services pages and your area served pages what are you putting? Yeah, you're right, because obviously it makes sense over here whenever you've got city sewer repair, that in the title you're going to have that same city and sewer repair there. But what do you do over here with your services? What we typically do, Alan, is we will, whatever the primary city is that we're trying to rank for. So just staying with the theme of Dallas, we will optimize everything for Dallas. And even though we're optimizing everything for Dallas, a lot of times we will still rank for these other areas because we've got content based around them. And it goes back to the same idea of why this stuff is helpful, having these city related topics. Because even with your services pages, let's say that we've got website.com/services/toilet repair, and the title of this page says toilet repair Dallas. And on that page, you might on this page, this might be where you have somewhere in the content. I wouldn't include this in the title or the description, but somewhere on the page, you might list out the different areas. Again, maybe at the bottom of your of that page, and that could also help you. That just at least having that content somewhere on there. That's what we do a lot of times. And generally, like I said, we will only go after, or we'll only include the primary city that we're trying to rank for in the services. And sometimes, a lot of times, most of the times, having these areas served pages give us that extra boost for these services pages that they'll rank for other cities. And the reason why, just to clarify, the reason why this works a little bit better than trying to rank your homepage for all a bunch of different areas is because your plumber plus your main city, so plumber Dallas, is always going to be way more competitive than sewer repair Dallas, or especially like sewer repair Plano, sewer repair Frisco, those other areas, and those are still decently sized areas, so that may not be the best example, but in most cases, like I can tell you where I live, Northwest Arkansas, we're really comprised of 4 quote unquote larger cities, each city ranging between 35 to 50,000 in population. And this right here works just fine for ranking because the competition is not immense, and most of our clients, this right here works just fine. So it's kind of a long answer there. I hope that makes sense. If not, like I said, just shoot me an email, man. We'll get together and we'll take a look at your website. So. Okay, so now that we've got the website structure in place, we've got each page properly set up, because again, you'll want to do this process, these 7 steps for every single landing page that you've got set up. So for every single area served and every single services page, you're going to want to go through this. And here's an example of this working, and I set this up just for demonstration purposes. I haven't done anything else to this. We're not adding more content or anything to it. This is pretty much a brand new website, and it's moving up and down in the rankings. I checked earlier, and it's no longer number 1. I took the screenshot for this. But you can see here for a garbage disposal repair, Danbury CT, looking at the website, this website I've got listed here. Oh, and that the reason why I use this as an example is to make one more final point here, is that I don't know if you can see it or not, but the website, the URL here is plumberdanburyct.com. Then we've got / garbage disposal repair. In this particular case, I would not ever want to do / Danbury / garbage disposal repair. The reason why is because Danbury is already in the domain. It's already in the URL. It's already in the URL structure. So if I were to repeat it again, then what's going to end up happening is I'm going to end up becoming over-optimized for Danbury. And Google does crack down on that. So you want to make sure that you follow this pretty closely. That way you're optimizing your website, and you're staying safe without going overboard. So, okay, so moving along here. Now, the next part that I want to talk about, and this is really staying on your website, is the content portion. And as I've already mentioned, create 750 to 1,000 word articles for each service and for each city. The reason why I say up to 9 services, that should actually say up to 9 cities, is because that's typically what we do. Of course, we can go beyond that, but we'll generally focus, we'll hone in our focus on 10 cities, and then post a 300 to 500 word article twice a month in a blog. And I've got this bolded here because I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to mention this, is that this gives you a great opportunity to help build that thematical relevance to your website. So coming all the way back over here, remember these related topics that we talked about. This gives you an opportunity with blogging to continue to do exactly that. And as you're blogging, if you, let's say that you do write a post about, let's say there's something happening in Plano, and let's say it's a festival, so you write some type of post about something happening in Plano. You want to link that blog post back to that area served Plano page. And then finally, you want to send traffic, social signals, and links to the homepage and inner pages each month, and also the blog post. So by inner pages, I'm talking about those landing pages, but you also want to be doing that to the blog posts. And one of the ways that you can do that as far as sending traffic is by having something like a newsletter, or if you've got a following on social media, making sure that anytime you write a new blog post, posting it there as well, which of course is something that we can help you with. And once you've got all of that stuff in place, the next step is backlinks. And I can tell you that building backlinks is really, as you can see here, it's more than 70% of the battle. Everything else that we just talked about is really everything that you need to do to just get yourself in the game. And oftentimes, depending on the size of the town that you're in, that might be enough for you. But oftentimes, it's not going to get you to the #1 spot for Plumber City. And it might get you in the ball game. It might get you at the bottom of page 1 or page 2. But really, where you're going to see the most of your calls coming in from is whenever you start getting into that top 5, really the top 3 range. And so how you separate yourself from the other website is by building backlinks. And backlinks are really what are going to determine the placement, where you're going to rank on page 1. And he who has the most quality links win. And it's not just about the number, it truly is about the quality of links. So what are the different type of backlinks that you can build? Well, you can build citations, which if you don't know what citations are business directories such as Yelp, Yellow Pages, and so on. And these are actually critical for ranking in the maps section. And one of the things that we like to do is we reverse engineer what citations your competitors who are already ranking have, and we begin with those. So nowadays it's considered the snack pack or the 3-pack with the maps rankings. So I'll go ahead and back out of here and go back over here to this page. So you can see we've got 3 different positions right here. And so what we like to do is find out what citations each person has, and then we'll compare them. So if there's any citations that all 3 of them have together, then we want to make sure that we're definitely getting those, and those are generally the first citations that we'll hit. And then we'll just continue to build out until any citations that any of these guys have in the top 3 spots, we have them as well. So we're eliminating any type of advantage that they have. And that is a good start for building your citations. Videos are another great source of building backlinks because it's once you create the video, it's free to upload those to YouTube and Vimeo. Press releases, while they're not free, they are another great source of backlinks. and we personally run press releases for our clients. Of course, if you want to do this yourself, there are other vendors out there that you can use. I believe one of them is PR Web. Looking it up right now. Yeah, PR Web, it looks like, is one of them. And it's probably not the cheapest press release service out there, but I know they do a good job. They've got a strong name behind them. So prweb.com might be somebody to take a look at. And what's going to happen is, once your press release gets syndicated, there's Fox and ABC and NBC and these different big name brands. They're affiliate sites, so basically like their local websites. Well, they're constantly looking for something to post. They're looking for content, and so they will pick up your press release. And you can add a press release really just about anything. If you make some updates to your website, you can add a press release about that. And then finally, last but certainly not least, is blogs, and that's building Web 2.0 sites such as WordPress, Blogger, LiveJournal, and there's all kinds of blogging sites that are out there. And this is just a handful. There's obviously more types of links that you can build, but these are the ones that I wanted to cover. So we've already covered citations and press releases, but I want to go into more detail about blogging, or the Web 2.0s. And something that we do as part of our strategy for our clients, and this is something that I highly recommend you do as well, is we'll set up Web 2.0 properties. And each of these Web 2.0 properties they're free, number one. Number two, you own them and you can post them as much as you like to. And so what you can do is anytime you write a new blog post, you can syndicate that blog post to these different Web 2.0 properties. In other words, you're going to be creating a backlink from these Web 2.0 properties back to your blog post. And that is a pretty powerful tool in and of itself, because every single time you're posting, not only are you creating more niche relevant or thematically relevant content, if you will, for your website, but you're also getting links pointing back to it. And going back to the example of, let's say you create a blog post about that festival happening in Plano. Well, that Plano page is going to be linking back to your area's served page that you want to rank, right? So all of these links are going to be pointing back to your blog posts that are pointing back to your area's served page. So it's basically making that link that's pointing to your area served page that much more powerful, because you're having all these other links point to the link that's pointing to your link. It's kind of confusing, but in practice, it's really not confusing at all. Basically, you're going to be blogging, and as you blog, you're going to be syndicating it out to all of these different blogging sites. You can also post about it on Twitter, on your Facebook page, and etc. And next is YouTube videos that I wanted to cover. And what's great about YouTube videos is that, and I shouldn't say YouTube videos, videos in general, is that they're great for branding. And there's more sites than just YouTube. You got Vimeo, you got Dailymotion, and there's plenty of others. And what's great about the videos is that the more you have, the better, because you can actually target each video towards a different keyword. So let's say you have 10 videos. Well, you can target each of those 10 videos towards, perhaps a different service. So you can have a video targeting, toilet repair Plano, and that video is going to be linking back to, either the you could really link it to whichever page you wanted to. You can link it back to the areas page, right? It really, unless if it's in the way we've been talking about setting up our theoretical website. If you've got your website.com /area served /Plano, and you're creating a video for Plano toilet repair, then you would want, that's the page you want to send it back to, and not necessarily the services toilet repair. And the reason why is because if you remember the services page that we created, each of those services, the title of those pages are geared to rank for Dallas. So it would make more sense to point those to the area served page. I hope that's making sense. Is that making sense? Give me a 1 in the chat box if that makes sense, or if I just completely lost you guys. Or give me a 2 if you didn't completely understand that. Okay, I see mostly 1s. I do see a couple of 2s in here. So very quickly, and we'll move on. Basically, when you create let's say you've got a commercial, you can take that commercial, you can upload it to sites like YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, and you want to target that video towards a specific keyword. So in this case, we're talking about Plano toilet repair. What you can also do with that video is you can include a link on that video, generally in the description, that's pointing back to your area served Plano page. And where I probably confused you is that what I was trying to say is that that's the page you want to go to versus the services page talking about toilet repair, simply because, you know, using the example that we laid out, going back over here, using this example, these services pages, remember the title and description that we mentioned are going to be mentioning Dallas and not Plano. So it would probably be a better idea to point the link that's in the video to the area served page, since it's going to actually have Plano in the title of that particular page. Alternatively, if you have something set up more like this, where you've got Plano toilet repair, then that's the page that you'd want to point it to. So there's not an exact science. You kind of just have to really, I mean, as part of this is just practice, I guess. You kind of just have to, as you're creating out you're building out your website, know what pages are going to need that extra push. And what's also cool about videos is that oftentimes you can actually get these videos to rank. So what you'll end up with is a page ranking and a video ranking. And taking it one step further, if it is a commercial that you're dealing with, and again, this is something that I can almost guarantee that nobody else is doing. And whenever you're doing all this stuff, you have all this stuff in play, it's almost impossible for you not to rank. But what you can do is you can take screenshots of your commercial, place those into a PowerPoint presentation, and then save that as a PowerPoint, and then also save it as a PDF presentation. And then you want to extract the voice, or the voiceover part from the actual commercial. Because then what you can do with all those is you can then take those the PowerPoint presentation, and there are plenty of PowerPoint presentation sharing websites out there that you can actually share your presentation with, and get another link pointing back to your website. And what I would do one of two things. If you're staying with the Plano example, and we've got this pointed towards our area served Plano page, if that page is not ranking how you want it to rank, I would take each of the links that we're creating here, so our presentation sharing sites, our PDF sharing sites, our podcast sites, and so with the voiceover, obviously you're sharing that on different podcast sites. I would take those, and the different links that are generated from building those, I would point those to that page, to the Plano area served Plano page. If the area served Plano page is already ranking pretty well, then what I would actually do is I would actually send all of these links back to the YouTube video. And the reason why is twofold. Number one, this YouTube video, it has a link going back to your homepage. So the links, anytime you have a link pointing back to your website, if it has links pointing back to it, it's going to make that link that much more powerful. So having a link on a YouTube video is great, but if you've got other links pointing back to the YouTube video as well, that link on that YouTube video that's pointing back to your website is going to carry that much more weight. So if your Plano page is already ranking pretty well, I would send those links to your YouTube video for more than one reason. Number one, not only is it going to make that link pointing back to your website that much more powerful, but number two, you're also going to stand a better chance of ranking your YouTube video now, because now you're building links back to your YouTube video. And another thing that you can do with your YouTube video whenever you create it is in essence almost follow our 7-step website audit again. So whenever you're titling what your video is, that is what ends up being the title, as how it shows up on in Google. So the title of your YouTube video, you'd want it to say toilet repair Plano, or whatever service it is that you're going after. And then in the description, the description doesn't show up as it's not the same type of description as you have on your website. This right here is really more the content portion of your website. So this is where you can have 700 to a 50,000 word article that you post into the description that's now going to be showing up as content on your YouTube video. So you do all of that. You optimize your YouTube video the way I was just explaining it. You then do these different things to build backlinks back to your YouTube video. You're going to have a really good chance at ranking your YouTube video, and if nothing else, it's definitely going to give your website an extra push. So are there any questions about any of that? I do have, I know we're about to run out of time here. We've only got a few more minutes. There's one more thing I want to cover, but I know that a lot of that was pretty detailed. Any questions about any of that? So, okay, and I thought we might have some questions as far as like presentation sites, PDF sharing sites. So I'm going to pull something up on my end here really quick. So there are different websites that allow you, so the same way you have YouTube that allows you to share a YouTube video, there's different sites similar to YouTube, but instead of sharing videos, you can, or instead of being able to upload videos, you can upload like a PDF, or you can upload a presentation, or PowerPoint presentation. Even with like podcast sites, don't think of this as having to have an actual podcast. And also, just to be clear, this is not something that is going to really be seen by anybody. Somebody who's looking for a plumber, they're not going to find your presentation that you have out there. They're not going to find your podcast that you have out there. It's just the reality of what it is. So don't overthink it and try to get it perfect. But the reason why we do it is because Google will find it. And Google will see the links that are created from these different sharing sites and give you credit for those. So I've got something pulled up here. Let me bring it over here. So I am logged into Google right now, and what you're looking at is it's called the Google Drive. And how you get there is simply clicking on once you're signed into Google, click this Google Apps button right here, and then click Drive. And of course, yours will be set up a little bit different than mine. I've got a folder here I want to click into, but here's an example of this in action. Where here you've got a presentation slide, and this is another test website that we're testing some things with, where this is a presentation, but this is in Google Slides. This is in Google Documents here, and you can see that we've got a link pointing back to our website here, and this is in preview mode. This is not the let me see if I can't. So we'll go share. Yeah, I think it's loading slow because I've got the webinar running as well. Let's see if that works. Okay, hang on. Let me try something different here. So let me do, I believe it's preview. Here we go. So this is a live document right now out on the internet. This right here is the website URL for it, and it's just a document, or it's a presentation. And this is a little bit different, obviously, than what I'm telling you to do. I'm just showing you this as an example of what like a presentation slide could look like, or a presentation sharing site could look like. And so you can see this is got different links pointing out back to us, but and it's also not complete. But you get the hopefully you get the idea there. And and outside of podcasts, even there's also just audio sharing sites where you have YouTube, right? Where YouTube you upload your video, Well, there's also sites that instead of taking MP4s, they take MP3s, where it's not necessarily like a podcast, but you can upload just your audio. And that's where I was saying you could extract the voiceover and with the audio. I mean, just basically extract the audio, and there's different tools for doing this, where you can extract the audio from your video and then upload it to those audio sites. So in essence, what you're doing is you are really just taking one piece of content. You're taking your commercial and you're syndicating the mess out of it. You're getting links and more from all these different places. And of course, if you don't have a commercial set up, there you can create your own video if you want to. Just create a presentation, a very quick presentation, and put a video together. So if you do have commercials though, and you're not utilizing this, I can't recommend highly enough that you get this into practice right away. So, okay, let me exit back out of here. Take you back to my screen here. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is your reviews. And I want to show you a system that we have set up. And you can do with this as you will. And one of the things that I'm sure that you've probably tried some type of reputation program in the past. I know I can tell you from working with other plumbing and HVAC and electrical companies that we have tried so many different things over the years, and one of the biggest problems that we always had is that we'd have a way of filtering out the good from the bad reviews, but we didn't really have a way to force people to post those reviews online. So if you've ever encountered that, or if you just need a reputation program in place, I promise you this will probably be one of the coolest things you see today. So this right here is a walkthrough of our reputation platform, and I'll once I go through this, I'll kind of explain how you can do this yourself. But very quickly, once you get done at a job, then or once one of your guys get done at a job, then all they need to do is pull up this page. Of course, this will be branded to your company, and enter the name and email and phone number of the person's house that you were just at, the person you just serviced. And once you hit submit, what's going to happen is that person is then going to get a text message and an email go out to them asking them to leave a review. And there's going to be a sequence of 3 emails and text messages that go out over a period of 3 days. And if at any time during that sequence, if they ever click the link to go leave a review, then we'll automatically stop asking them for a review. But the idea is that once you enter their name, email, and phone number, it is completely hands-off for you from that point. So what happens from here is, after they get an email and they click to go leave a review, they're taken to a well, not this page. It looks like I don't have it pulled up here, but they're taken to a page where they can rate you from 3 to 5 stars and then leave a quick comment about their experience. If they say 3 stars or less, then they will be taken to a page that looks like this, saying, hey, we're sorry to hear about your experience. And this right here is just how we have this set up for this particular client. We can customize this page however we need to. We don't have to have a video here, or we can have a video of you here. But it's basically saying, hey, we're sorry to hear about your experience. Again, this is if somebody says 3 stars or less. And then here's an option where they can let you know how you can improve. And you're automatically notified as well. So if anybody says 3 stars or less, you're going to be notified, and you're going to be sent a text message and an email with the customer's name and phone number. That way you can immediately contact them right away to hopefully get things addressed. And the reason why that's so important is because this gives you a chance to jump out in front of somebody going out and leaving a negative review online, which obviously we don't want. But now let's say they say 4 or 5 stars, then they're going to be taken to a page that looks like this, where it says, hey, thank you for your review. We'd appreciate it if you would share your review on one of these sites below. And we can make these we can connect these to any review sites that we want to connect them to. Generally speaking, we don't want to have more than 2 3 would be the max that we like to include here as an option for somebody to leave a review. But generally speaking, we're really trying to push reviews to one particular review site, which oftentimes is at least initially is going to be Google. So here's the question though: what happens if they say 4 or 5 stars, but they don't take the next step and actually post the review anywhere? Now, the one thing that's missing here is, whenever going back to the initial star rating where they're saying through your, rating you from 1 to 5 stars. Again, as I mentioned, they can leave a comment. Whatever comment they left whenever they were rating you from 1 to 5 stars is also shows up here. That way they can just copy it and then come over here to one of these sites and paste it. But if they don't leave it here, what do you do? Well, we've got a system set up that will automatically take those reviews and get them posted over here on online. And this is a website that we control, and it looks like a third-party website. And what's actually cool is that Google oftentimes will refer to this as a third-party website. And what I mean is that whenever you do a search for a particular company, Google will show. Let's just do. Let's get some reviews here. Ben Franklin. We'll go Ben Franklin Plano. So you see how this shows up over here, and unfortunately they don't have any reviews from around the web showing here. So let me do. Here we go. Okay, so here you go. So this reviews from the web section where you got Review Buzz that's pulling right here. Is that we've actually oftentimes have our review site showing up here on the reviews from the web. And what's cool about this is that since we control the reviews, only 4 and 5 stars are going to be getting posted there. You can see he's got basically 5 out of 5, 4.96. That's what Google is going to be showing right here as well. And again, these are only going to be 4 and 5 star reviews that they get posted here. And finally, we can take these reviews as somebody leaves them and also publish them automatically onto Facebook and Twitter. So we're automatically syndicating the reviews that somebody leaves to a review site and then to your social media sites. So even if somebody doesn't take the next step and post it to Google, we're still getting it online, so that way it will be seen. So, and the one final piece to all of this, and this truly is the last piece. Thank you so much for staying around for so long. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you've gotten a lot of value from this. And this last piece is something that I think you'll really get a lot of benefit from, is creating an ad from a positive review that comes in. So here I've got a review pulled up. This is one of the more recent ones that we created, and I've blocked out the company here. But you can see that we created a very simple, this is a Facebook ad, created a very simple ad that we can now use to show up on Facebook. And how we use this is we put what's called retargeting code on our website. And what happens is anytime somebody visits our website and leaves the website, whenever they go to Facebook, they're going to see your ad following them around. And what's amazing about this is it's incredibly inexpensive to do this. You can do this for $50 to $100 and probably struggle to spend all of that money because it's just so cheap to do this on Facebook right now. And what's powerful about this is that I'm sure you've run into a situation before where somebody will call you and perhaps you have a dispatch fee that somebody doesn't want to pay. So instead of having you come out, they hang up with you and they call Joe Schmo, who's too cheap to really even feed his family. But Joe Schmo will go out there and do it, but because he's so cheap, Joe Schmo doesn't do a good job. Well, now this person is left in a mess, and they're right back to needing to find a service person. Well, if they've visited your website before, this is one way that you can stay in front of them. So Joe Schmo does a bad job and they see your ad on Facebook, guess who's more than likely going to be getting that call? And even going beyond that, it's very common from our clients that we've spoken with before, where they've just struggled to keep in front of stay on top of the customer's mind, where sometimes a customer will forget what plumber they used. And so again, this is a very inexpensive way to stay top of mind and to stay in front of anybody who might need a callback on a job, or somebody who just simply forgets that you came out and serviced them, and they need a plumber down the road. And this is one way to help brand your identity into their brains. So. Okay, guys, that is officially the end of the webinar. Again, thank you so much for sticking around for so long. And obviously, everything that I've gone through with you today is really, in essence, a kind of a blimp view, really, of our overall strategy that we employ with our clients. And it's something that if you're interested in, and having us do this for you, we would absolutely love to speak with you. Even if you just want us to take a look at your website and get some feedback, we're more than happy to do that as well. I'm looking forward to establishing. I see some new faces on here, some new names on here that I'm not familiar with. So I would absolutely love, even if it's not to earn your business, to at least earn a relationship, earn a friendship with you. So if you have any questions, you feel free to type them into the chat box now. Otherwise, I don't see any questions coming in. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and wrap this up, and I will get this recording along with the 7-step website audit out to you guys here pretty soon. Okay, so we did just get a question come in about retargeting. Okay, so the question is, how do you set up retargeting? What exactly is retargeting? It's fairly simple, actually. Really all it is it's code that Facebook will generate for you that you can then give to your web developer, or you can plug this in yourself. And actually, with the 7-step website audit, whenever we're talking about how to update your titles, that same area, it's called the header of your website. You can put that code in the header of your website, and everything is in place. Then you just run your ads from Facebook, and basically anytime somebody visits your website, they're getting what's called a cookie. They're getting cookied, and with Facebook, you can cookie somebody for up to 6 months. So in other words, somebody visits your website. Let's say they visit your website today. They give you a call. Well, now for the next 6 months, you can continue to show an ad in front of them. Which you can show coupons as well. I'm a big fan of showing reviews, and I think it's a good idea to mix it up. It's okay to mix up your reviews with coupons, and also whenever you do a blog post, whenever you create a new blog post, you can absolutely create an ad based around that and target the people who have visited your website. So. Okay, it looks like that was the final question, guys. Again, thank you so much for being on the call. I will be getting this out to you as soon as the recording is finished, along with the 7-step website audit. And actually, the two will come in separate emails. The webinar program that we're using will automatically send the webinar out to you. The 7-step website audit I'll be sending out shortly. It'll likely be getting to you tomorrow, sometime tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning. If you, for some reason, you don't get either, or if you don't get the webinar replay and or the audit, let me know, and I'll make sure to get that to you. So, all right, guys, thanks, and hope you enjoyed it.